Let's jump into looking at the frequencies of 3, how we can work with the frequencies of 3 for this month of March, what is available to us in terms of the astrological alignments, the cosmic alignments. So let's dive into working with the 3 from that perspective, how we can use the numerology, how we can use the geometry, the sacred geometry that is available in the 3, and the cosmic and astrological alignments. So let's start off in terms of the frequency of 3, looking at it from frequency perspective and a numerological perspective. So 3 already, as we start to connect in with the number 3, we can start to feel into the frequency. We all have this really deeply ingrained understanding and awareness that there is a sacredness to the number 3. And 3, again, there's so many scriptures which indicate the sacredness of number 3. And when we look at the 3, we really start to connect with the Trinity, the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And a lot of what 3 is also opening us up into is to really bring in the expansion of sacred union. So not to just look at it from that more patriarchal dimension of Father, Son, Holy Spirit, but looking at it from Mother, Father, the Goddess God, Son, Daughter, and Holy Spirit. So when we worked with the frequency of the 2 really helped us embody and expanded our consciousness into working within the sacred union, where we bring the unification of all that is in polarity, and our entire reality exists in polarity. But it is bringing that union into the field of our masculine and feminine field, the dark and the light. And the 3 frequency allows us to emerge as the whole. So 3 really starts to bring in the rebirth frequency, as we've brought in the sacred union of the polarity within us. There is the new that arises. And this also is indicated in the cycle of life, of the birth, life, death cycle. So each of those cycles, as we go through this trinity of our life stream, it allows the new to be birthed, the new to emerge. So 3 really brings another element into the sacred union, because it allows us to anchor into wholeness. 3, again, we always see 3 being a sacred number, particularly the 33, because we see it as the Christ consciousness number. And the Christ consciousness is that element of the sacred union. It is the divine masculine, divine feminine coming into that unified field, creating the field of Christ consciousness. So these are the golden codes of the Christ consciousness. And as we work on our ascension path, we are working on embodying, as we come into this wholeness, as we come into this unified field for ourselves, we are working on embodying the Christ consciousness within us, as we become more God realized, God masculine, feminine, God realized, and we ascend into the embodiment of our I am frequency, the God consciousness frequency. The other element of the 3 that we're also really are working within this year, particularly this year, is because this year is the dragon year. So last month we opened up into the dragon lunar new year, and we have the dragon energy, which is the sacred feminine energy, which is weaving its way into the collective field and awakening the sacred feminine consciousness. And one of the key players, if you want to say that, is the goddess Kuan Yin. You always see Kuan Yin, she is depicted as riding her dragon. Normally it's this white dragon. And Kuan Yin's number is 33. So when we repeat her mantra, it's normally it's done in a sequence of 33. So we can see, and again, there's this link to 33 with Christ. So we can see that the 3 really holds a sacredness within it. And for me, I believe that that is coming more in from the geometric, the sacred geometry that is in the 33. And I'll talk about that in a little bit. But what is also coming through for us when we look at the 3 is that there is, so with Kuan Yin really opens us up into compassion. She really opens up the heart so that we can be leading and living from that heart-centered alignment point. Our ascension journey has to be heart-based. We have to be deeply rooted within the heart and also deeply rooted within the vessel. And 3 gives us this opportunity to come into this space. So as a frequency, 3 overlights our field with the remembrance of our divinity, of the whole unified field, so that we can hold and embody the frequency of that sacred divine template of who we are. So as we work with this frequency of 3, we can really start to tap into our divine blueprint and start to connect into the more expansive consciousness of who we are, rather than the vessel. We often connect to ourselves as the vessel, the person, the human. But 3 starts to really expand our field to understand that we are a consciousness. And in our awareness of that consciousness, we have this reference point and awareness point of the human aspect that is going through its experience, its chosen experience, its contracted experience to facilitate the growth and the expansion point of the consciousness. So there's a lot in terms of, as a frequency, as a sacred number, and how it can really awaken our remembrance, activate our blueprint, activate the DNA, deconstruct the DNA, so that we can start to return more into the divinity. So there's a lot there to explore with the 3. And again, it's cyclical. 3 also reminds us of this cycle that we're going through. And it also asks us to expand out of the human side that is going through the cycle and to expand into the infinite cosmic consciousness that is all present in its unified field. So the 3-3 portal is actually quite an important portal for us, because the 3-3 portal opens up this frequency, and there's definitely it's powerful, but it is a gentleness. And I really feel it's because Kuan Yin is weaving compassion through the portal for us. So the 3-3 portal is really going to start to open us up. I feel we're going to feel it really in the heart center, and it's going to clear distortions through this channel of the heart, the throat, the heart, solar plexus, and coming into our womb space, the emotional body. I feel that we're going to get a lot of clearance through there, as we are really opening up into this deeper understanding of ourselves, because the 3 teaches us that. The 3 is a lot about our sensitivity and our expression, and that is really coming through that center alignment of the throat, the heart, the solar plexus, the emotional body, which is the womb space. So there's a lot there for us to explore if we want to go deeper into looking just at the frequency of the 3, what the 3 is bringing to us, and if we can start to open up into the sacredness that the 3 holds for us. But know that you can work with the 3-3 portal in terms of receiving those cosmic frequencies which are coming through, and really working with those cosmic frequencies in terms of bringing this alignment. And once we bring that alignment, then we can then funnel it or channel it up through the higher centers of the third eye and the crown, so that we can access and anchor it into the higher realms, and then take it down from the roots into the Earth Star chakra and grid that. So we start to grid the Christ consciousness into the collective field for us. So yeah, I think it's a beautiful frequency to work with. I feel it is a really holy frequency to work with. There's a lot of mysteries in the 3, and the 3 is, I want to say, like a Pandora's, not Pandora, like a TARDIS. It keeps opening up, it keeps evolving. So as you unlock one level of the mystery, one level of that consciousness, and work on embodying that, it opens up into more and more. So just as on its own, you can work with that to really deepen your connection of the sacredness of who you are. Then we have the sacred geometry side of the 3. So when we look at, so let's look at the more mathematical, like the structural function of the 3. And, it's been said that in terms of all of our shapes, the pyramid, so which is the 3, is the most sturdiest shape. It's the one that can take the most pressure. It's the one, most people would think it was a square, but it's actually the 3. The 3 is the sturdiest of the shapes. And if we look at all the mystery teachings, and we look at all the ancient sites, and we look at all the scriptures and the text, we can see how important the triangle is. It's everywhere. We see it in all the mythologies. We see it in all the scripts. And also when we look at our elements, they are depicted as the triangles, either, pointing up or pointing down. So again, really important structure to work with because of the pathways that it creates, the cycle that it creates of our human experience as we are evolving in our human experience, and how that allows us to expand into this more cosmic consciousness of who we are. But the 3 also, in terms of the structure and the geometry of it, it brings in frequencies, awareness points, and consciousness of the positive mind. It brings in the leader qualities, the courageous, the moving forward, this dynamic, creative, which is based in a logical but not too logical perspective. So we move from the 2 frequencies. So we look at the structure of the 2, and the 2 was the negative mind, right? It was that separation, and how that could create a lot of conflict within the mind. So while we worked with the 2 frequencies last night to bring in the harmonious and this reflection that we have the sacred mind and the sacred heart in unity and harmony, the 3 really brings in, so we move from that, we use the harmony and that alignment point, and we move into this expanded wholeness. So the positive mind has the ability to use both aspects of the left and the right brain, the masculine and the feminine energy, as it moves forward. So 3 can also bring an element of courage, leadership for us to move forward. So if we're seeing the number 3 a lot, we really are being asked to take leadership within our spiritual growth, within our relationships, our communications, or whichever aspects of your life you're needing to take leadership with. The only thing that we need to be aware of with the 3 is that often, because the 3 has the ability to be both logical and very intuitive and very creative, because it is the wholeness, it's that Christed consciousness, but it's the wholeness of the masculine, the feminine, the right brain, the left brain, words, right brain, left brain. It can start to get quite stuck in one or the other, right? So it can start going into overthinking and overanalyzing, which won't allow that flow into the feminine brain. So it's really important to learn to balance the energies and to see where you are maybe going out of balance. The 3 really brings an expansive energy, a movement energy. And again, look at where we are. We're in the month 3 in the Northern Hemisphere, for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere. We're in spring. It's this opening and it's this dynamic and it's this movement energy of things starting to expand. So we look at what's happening in nature. It's becoming abundant. There's very much an expansive, this growing energy, this forceful energy that's required to step out, break the husks, break the soil, and to meet the environment that is there for us. So we've got all of this there as well that is moving us forward with the 3. But work on bringing that balance between the hemispheres of the brain, that logical, mathematical, leadership, courageous, with the softer, the intuitive, the reflective, the inner understanding as these concepts arise for us. So use the left brain to think about them, process them, and then take them into the within, the inner, the feminine, the right brain, to be creative and intuitively nurture and allow them to expand and grow from that perspective. And this takes us into this, birth, life, death process. So everything, even our thoughts go through that, our emotions go through that, our cells from a cellular perspective go through that. So we've got the cyclical energy that's moving through us all the time. So again, it's important to remember that with the 3, that pyramid, it can only hold and be functional and be in its strength, in its most optimal strength, when all the sides are balanced. If we had a triangle, so, my fingers aren't obviously equal length, so I can't do an equilateral triangle. But if we had one side that was overstretched than the other, then we would lose the integrity, we would lose the solidity and the strength of that. So make sure that you are bringing that balance. And I really feel that this is where Kuan Yin is assisting us in bringing that balance, because of the number she brings in, 33. We look at, and I'm just putting it out there in terms of the Christ number 33. Because it's the double, it's the balancing of the both energies, of the 3 energy. So definitely explore that and be aware of that energy and that frequency that's coming up for you this month. Okay, so that takes us through the numerological, the sacred kind of geometry of the number, and how we can really tap into it to bring that sacred union in our wholeness. So we're expanding on the 2 from last month. Okay, so let's look at the astrology. And the astrology and the cosmic alignments are really interesting this month, because February was tough, wasn't it? Like February was tough. There was a lot in February for us. We had a lot of change, as we moved into the Aquarian energy. We had that very Plutonian energy coming in, which was literally transforming things before our eyes. We had Chiron in the North Node, which was taking us into the deepest wounds. And I really feel that everyone's nervous systems are shot. We're really like a little bit raw from all of that. So there is a lot of self-care. And I know I've spoken about this in the classes a lot, this dichotomy energy that we're faced with this emergence, this yang energy of, what's happening in our nature as everything is bursting forward and we're wanting, the lighter days, the energy that's driving us to move forward. But actually what's happening deeper within us with the cosmic alignments and the astrological alignments are bringing for us in terms of healing is actually requiring a wintering, an autumn and a wintering phase for us, where we go into this deeper rest, this reflection, this deep stillness to heal, but we're in this energy that's moving us and pushing us forward. So how do we balance these? And that is probably one of the most challenging experiences for us this year, I think, because we're going to constantly be having to face these contrasting energies so that we can continue to heal what's within as we move through time and space, but also as we are under the effect and influence of what is happening in our environments around us. So in terms of astrologically, we have moved from the Aquarian energy, which is the air, right? So air is fast moving, fast changing, or it could be quite gentle. And we all really felt that Aquarian energy for us. We could feel like, wow, this was really quite hard for us to move and shift through the distortions which were brought up for us so that we could clear them. And it took us, last month, took us into those deep, deep, deep wounds. This month brings a different energy. Every month brings an energy for healing, right? Every single month brings an energy for healing. This is why we're here. We're here to walk the path of healing. We're here to walk ourselves home, and we're here to walk each other home. So the Piscean energy, we're in the Piscean energy, which is water, okay? Emotional body, for those who don't want to feel their emotions, not a good month. So it's the Piscean energy. It takes us right into the emotional body. It takes us into this relationship with the water aspect of us, the water consciousness within us, that deep cellular memory that is within our water structures within us, the hugely advanced consciousness of the water within us, as well as what's being coded in our DNA. So what we're being asked to do this month is to step right into our emotional body as we work with the Piscean energy. Now, depending on what we've cleared in the previous month of the Aquarian energy, will really dictate how we meet this month's energy and alignment points. We are still going to have a lot surfacing for us in terms of the emotional aspect. So water, if we come into what the water is teaching us and how we can work with the water element of this month, is that the water has its layers. So whatever hasn't been cleared from the air element, we are going to really be dropped into it from the water perspective, into the depths of the water, which means we are either going to be dropped into fast moving waters where we are going to have to recalibrate, deal with what's arising, surrender. And this is the big word: surrender, surrender, surrender. Water teaches us surrender. Water teaches us to soften. Water teaches us to really connect with the feminine energy within us that allows us to be the witness, allows us to observe, allows the deeper healing as we let go, surrender, let it move through. So we're either going to be in these rapid type of waters as we're dealing with the emotional layers of healing we have to go through, or we may be faced with dealing with some of the stuff that we have not wanted to deal with, either karmically or from a soul evolution perspective, for a very long time. And that will be what is being frozen for us. So there will be emotional consciousness, emotional learnings, emotional wisdom, emotional wounds that we have experienced either in our life stream or as the consciousness of who we are, that we have suppressed, repressed, exiled, and those aspects could be absolutely frozen, right? That could be our little icebergs. And those are going to thaw out this month for us. So it's about us learning to work through that. So again, going back to a lot of the work we did in January, the whole nervous system regulation, presence, and learning to care for ourselves as the nervous system becomes stimulated, inflamed, as we work through dealing with what is arising. The most important theme for us this month is to allow it to move through, no matter how uncomfortable it is. Because if we can surrender, it can move through quicker. And there's going to be lessons there. So it's for us to really step into the lessons. Now, if we are not working with that flow-filled state, what happens is that we can start to anchor more into the earth element of what's under the water, and that can be very soggy and muddy, and we can get stuck there, and it can be very uncomfortable. It'll bring up a lot of discomfort for us. So if you're feeling that, if possible, try and allow yourself to rise up a little bit into the water element of it, into the emotion, allowing this emotion and letting it clear through. Okay, so if we're feeling a lot of constriction, if we're feeling a lot of resistance, if we're feeling a lot of dysregulation out of our body, then it's really important that we do the work to manage that, to regulate, to create that safety, that agency back in the body so that we can be in the moving part of the water. And remember, the moving part of the water will have its thermals. So we're going to experience, each individual person who's working through this is going to have their own thermals that they'll be working through and with. So remember, water in itself is quite multidimensional and has so many teaching points depending on the layers that you're in. But do prepare yourself that you may have to heal what has been frozen. And that aspect could be a little bit challenging. So, okay, so let's go into some of the key points that we need to remember for this month, some key dates to remember. So firstly, the monthly theme, in terms of the theme for the month that we holds astrologically and cosmically, is dreams, transcendence, and intuition. Intuition we know because this is the feminine element of the water. Water is a feminine energy, and it'll really open up for us to, as we are working through these emotional layers, to really intuit, to really go into understanding, wisdom. The frequency of 3 is all about understanding, so we can really tap into the understanding, the wisdom, the teachings. And if we can do that, it allows us to transcend either the suffering, either the karmic cycles and the patterns and pathways of avoidance and separation, which are our habit. So we can really transcend that. Transcending the suffering is going to be an important theme for this month. So this month isn't as intense as February, but it does have a couple of power-packed days for us where things are going to feel pretty intense. So, February was a month of intensity, whereas here we're going to have some very intense days, which may equal up to the whole collective of February, or not, depending on what we were able to clear in February. So, as I've said before, each month prepares us for the next month. Each frequency does the groundwork, lays the foundation for the next one, as does the yearly frequency. As we've done that work through the whole year, it's laid that foundation for that year so that we can be prepared for the frequency of the new year. And, we're in the frequency of 8, which is, that repetition, dark night of the soul, those loops as the new self emerges. So dreams, the reason we have dreams as a theme for March is because there's a lot of Neptunian energy that comes through in March. Neptune is the ruler of the water, of Pisces. So, and Neptune's a beautiful one to work with because Neptune takes us right into this moment. It takes us straight into this center point, into the present, because Neptune can create a lot of fog for us. It brings the mists, which also allow us to tap into the dreams because it's a very soft, etheric type of feeling. So they can allow us to, through the mists, expand into realms and consciousness that we can tap into what we are dreaming, what we are calling for, so we can birth it into the reality. So that's a beautiful one for that. We can use our intuition to work through that. But those mists and that fog also don't give us clarity beyond this current point. So we really have to anchor into what is present for me now, what is arising for me now, what would I like, what is the desire that I would like to embody here, what are my desires? We often don't even go into this. So what is it that I really would like to birth into this reality now? And Neptune can really assist us with that. So let's look at the two big key players for the month in terms of astrological alignments. So we have new moon in Pisces on the 10th of March, and it is a super new moon. Yay. Because whenever we have like super new moons or eclipses, it always intensifies. So whatever the new moon is bringing up, remember the new moon is us laying those seeds. For us, it's us in that dark void. And it's a beautiful time for reflection. So the new moon is the affirmation for the new moon is when I sit silently with my higher self, I discover an untapped world of inspiration. So it's a super new moon for us, which really means that ability, again, Neptune, Pisces, the water element, the intuition, we can really tap into this higher realm or this expanded consciousness of who we are to start to weave through and pull through what is required for us, what we need to bring forward, we need to birth to assist our soul evolutionary expansion. Is also to see what's sitting in distraction, what's sitting in distortion for us so that we can learn to move it or move through it. Yeah. So because we have the new moon in Pisces with a very Neptunian influence, it is a beautiful time. Neptune is a great time for meditation. It really requires a lot of meditation so that we can, because it really takes us into the stillness and the etheric realm. So we can really we can really tap into that. If we allow ourselves that time for stillness, it is an intensified time for us to be able to access what is coming through for us as we work through these emotions which are emerging. So it's a very gentle new moon, although it'll feel intense, but there's a gentleness in it for us. And then straight after the new moon, we've got March the 11th, which Venus moves into Pisces. And I love working with Venus. Most of you know that I work a lot with the Venus codes. I look at the Inanna pathways, the ascension, the descension. And it's that Rose Priestess pathway of working with Venus through her dance in the skies. So the 11th of March, Venus moves into Pisces. So we've got the planet of love moving into the water, which is our emotional body. So she's really going to bring a lot of wisdom, teaching, and gentleness. And if we can call in Kuan Yin into that as well, that compassion, so that we can really, in this really mystical Neptunian energy of sitting in the stillness reflection, we can really be the witness and meet what is arising within us, within some of those maybe deeper wounds which are arising in us, maybe stuff that's been really frozen and needs thawing, and we can really just welcome that back into our waters so that it can start to flow through and move through us. So it's quite a lovely, gentle start, lovely energies to start working with. And then that starts to escalate. Always escalates, right? So we move then into our equinox energy, and equinox is the equal day and night. So we've got that balance between light and dark, masculine and feminine. And I feel that things are going to really get quite intense around that time because we've got the sun in Aries. So the sun really is the expression. It illuminates, and it allows us to fully express and see what is there for us. And Aries, as we know, Aries is the planet of war, so it can be quite fiery. So we've got two fire elements in this equinox. Straight after the equinox, we have the full moon in Libra, and it is an eclipse full moon in Libra. So if we go back to what we know about eclipses are super intense energy times for us, okay? Because this is kind of like the slap from the universe or slap from our guides to get us back on track. Eclipses put us back onto the track if we have fallen out of the track. So the invitation to you all is, before eclipse season comes in, really use the new moon energies to take that time to understand what your path is and what you are needing to devote yourself to, what needs to leave your path, what needs to be seeded into your path, what needs to be cultivated, nurtured, grown, so that you can continue to be on your path. Because whatever we have not done in February and in March, we've got a super new moon, which is going to really surface things up for us. And then we go into this eclipse season straight after equinox with this fiery energy. And that's when things eclipse into our lives. Boom, something's in our life, whether we like it or not, or things eclipse out of our lives. It's a very quick transition. Rugs being torn literally from under our feet, or things being put, like whatever, a boulder comes right in your face. So for me, I always feel that's very much a Kali energy. It comes in, whoosh, done, bikini wax, it's out. Or, right, here's your lesson. You're going to deal with this. No more. There's no negotiations. That's it. In your face, no budge way. So what we're also being asked, and again, interesting because, what do we do in spring? It's spring cleaning. Yeah, we're all decluttering, spring cleaning out the cupboards as we're changing wardrobes, as we, cleaning the cobwebs from wherever. So this spring cleaning, we need to take it deeper. We really need to go in and spring clean within. Because if whatever we've done in terms of the spring cleaning, in terms of the preparation for the full moon, is going to assist us to have a very flowful and expansive full moon for us. So start the decluttering, don't ignore areas of your life. Really look at all aspects. Look at your home, look at your cupboards, look at your emotions, look at your thoughts, look at the people in your life, look at the connections you're having, look at your workspace. And we're really asked to declutter so that we can move into alignment points. I feel April is going to bring a lot of energy. There's going to be a lot of new coming for us in April. I think there's possibly going to be hard decisions we may need to be making, some changes we have to be faced with. I spoke about the changes in January with this year, that we're going to have drastic changes very quickly. And I feel that April is the time that's really going to start to, that energy is going to open up for us. And hence why we need to create this space within us and really come into a deeper place of being centered and build a deeper foundation within us in terms of managing the emotions and the thoughts so that we aren't dysregulated within our nervous system, so that we can keep working through the rest of the year. So in terms of just some little tips in terms of supporting with like detoxing, breath of fire is a really good one. So the breath of fire is the one where we are breathing in and out through the nose. So it's it's called the ego eradicator. It's the arc line eradicator. It really clears our entire energetic field. It clears the energetic bodies. It cleans cellularly. It really clears our emotions, mental. So that's quite a good one. And there's other little things that you can do. Maybe clean up the diet a little bit. Oil pulling, normally oil pull with coconut oil, maybe take some teas or tinctures, nettle, dandelion, milk thistle, just to help with the flushing out of toxicity and stagnation in the body. Because water also is, if water gets stagnant, we know how murky that can be and how that can breed bacteria and things like that. So we really want to clear out stagnation in the body. So it's a good time to clear anything that's stagnant and not working for you. So full moon energies, this eclipse full moon is bringing, I release all seeds of doubt in my relationships. This helps me make the best decisions for my well-being. So we really are centering into ourselves and clearing whatever needs to be cleared. And I would also focus not just on my relationships, any doubts that I'm carrying, any doubts about myself, anything that is holding me in restriction of being the truest expression of myself, my divine self, and work on clearing that out. Okay. So I think I have covered everything. The main things for us to look at is feeling. We need to feel what's there for us. And the 3/3 portal is going to start to open us up into the sacred geometries, the sacred mysteries of the three, creating that unified field so that we can be more embodied in our Christ consciousness, and the astrological alignments which are coming in. And what the number 3 holds for us are going to all assist us in this moving forward so we can really be embodied and solid in that foundation of who we are. Okay, so that's a lot of information to take in. So just, work through this recording at your own pace, dissect what you need to. As always, use your discernment. Take what you feel is right for you. Take that on board. Whatever it doesn't feel right, it doesn't feel like it's an alignment point for you, let it move through. It's a water month, right? And I wish you lots of grace and ease, flowfulness and expansion as you move through these. And there is this element about the sacredness as we're moving through all this stuff. Just keep coming home into that holy, sacred vessel of who you are, and come into that connection, because that is what's going to really steer us forward, because 3 holds such a holy, sacred frequency for us. All right, lovelies. Sending you lots of love. Wishing you lots of expansion, love, and joy. Namaste.